Right now, the entire world feels like it's on a knife's edge. We're seeing three completely separate, massive events that are shaking things up everywhere, from a ticking clock in the Middle East to a royal scandal and a world leader being put away for life. Any one of these would be huge news on its own, but all together, it paints a picture of a world in some serious turmoil.
And it all really comes down to this single number, 10. That's it. The clock is officially and very loudly ticking on what could absolutely become the next major global conflict.
So, here's what's happened. At this first-ever Board of Peace summit, President Trump has laid down a crystal-clear ultimatum for Iran. You have 10 days to sign what he's calling a meaningful nuclear deal. If not, well, the U.S. is ready to authorize military strikes. The countdown is on.
Okay, let's dig into that ultimatum first. Because this isn't just some diplomatic threat. This is a super high-stakes standoff, both militarily and diplomatically. And honestly, it has the entire world holding its breath.
And look, this isn't just talk. Both sides are making very real, very concrete moves. The U.S. is moving its carrier groups into position, which is, a pretty unmistakable signal. And at the same time, satellite images are showing that Iran is busy fortifying its Parchin military complex, and they're literally putting up new concrete shields because they're expecting an attack.
The reason we're even at this point is because diplomatically, these two sides are on completely different planets. U.S. officials are basically saying, we have the military advantage, so this deadline is not a suggestion. Meanwhile, Iran is firing back, saying that nuclear enrichment is their sovereign right, and they are not going to be intimidated. And here it is, straight from the president himself. This is the bottom line. It's not some vague warning. It's a direct, personal ultimatum. The stakes couldn't be clearer, and the whole world is watching.
Okay, so while the world is glued to the Middle East, a totally different kind of crisis is blowing up for one of America's oldest allies. And this one strikes right at the heart of the establishment.
I mean, for years, there have been whispers, questions, accusations. You've heard them. But now, the Jeffrey Epstein investigation has just taken an absolutely stunning turn, leading to an arrest that is genuinely historic.
That's right, police have taken Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, the man the world knew as Prince Andrew, into custody at his home. It's an unprecedented moment for the modern British monarchy. It completely shatters that carefully built image they've maintained for so long.
And the reaction from the top? It was immediate and absolutely brutal. King Charles III has very publicly put distance between himself and his brother, releasing this incredibly short, incredibly blunt statement. The message is clear. There's going to be no royal protection here. The law applies to everyone.
And believe it or not, this theme of major institutions getting shaken to their core just keeps going. Over in Asia, another key U.S. ally is dealing with its own crisis, one that's all about the nature of its democracy.
This is a landmark verdict with massive implications. The former president of South Korea, Yeol, has just been sentenced to life. A person who once held the most powerful job in the country is now going to spend the rest of their days in a prison cell.
So why is such an incredibly severe sentence? Well, the charge was for leading a failed insurrection. But the court's explanation went even deeper. They said this wasn't just a political crime, it was an attack on the nation itself. They basically called the verdict a necessary evil to protect South Korean democracy. So, you've got all these huge crises happening all at the same time. A potential war, a royal arrest, a jailed president. You really have to step back and ask, how are the other major world powers reacting to all this chaos? Let's take a look at that bigger picture.
This really lays out just how fractured everything is. You've got the U.S. pushing its hardline policy on Iran, but its own allies in the EU are really worried about them going it alone. Israel is backing the U.S., but they're dealing with their own scrutiny at the UN. And then you have China, which seems to be taking a step back from it all, warning about trade wars and focusing on its own stuff at home. There's no unified front, and that just makes everything feel even more unstable.
So, with the world's powers all over the place, we end up right back where we started, that 10-day clock ticking, ticking, ticking down in the Middle East. What happens in these next 10 days could seriously reshape global alliances, the British monarchy, and even the map of the Middle East. The big question for all of us is diplomacy going to pull through, or are we about to watch the start of a brand new conflict? The whole world is about to find out.